Great, thank you very much, Tim, and it's great to be presenting here at the Share Cafe Hidden Gems seminar today. So, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and I obviously would like to, as Tim mentioned, talk about the Mount Lindsay Tin-Tungsten Project, as well as Chalice's joint venture activities at our Southwest project in Western Australia. The Advanced Mount Lindsay project has already had something like $35 million spent on it. It's more than 100,000 metres of diamond core drilling. We've already completed an open pit feasibility study, and it's located in one of the tier 1 jurisdictions in terms of not only tin prospectivity, but also in terms of ESG. We've got access to hydropower, renewable energy, at a time when tin prices are near record levels. Currently tin's around $42,000 per tonne, which is 4 times the price of copper. So tin is an EV metal, and certainly the time for tin is now. Move on to slide 3, please. Just running through some of the highlights. We've spoken about Mount Lindsay, but we've also recommenced exploration, and we've already had early success with 2 mineralised skarns discovered. And certainly the target for the company is to make Australia's next new tin discovery. Chalice now has 11 EM anomalies at our EM anomalies at our Julimar lookalike target at Tor, the Southwest project, and they're preparing for drill testing shortly. The Riley Iron Ore Mine, which is currently on care and maintenance, is ready for a quick restart once market conditions become more favourable. We have a very attractive downhole EM conductor at the high grade, just under our high grade intersections at the Golden Grove North project, and just recently we have expanded our portfolio of tenements in our nickel copper PGE project at Coolum, which is about 250 kilometres east of Perth. Next slide, please. Just a quick corporate snapshot, and I suppose just want to draw your attention to the tin price, which is doubled over the last 12 months. So that's been a sensational run. It breached $50,000 just recently. Next slide, please. The company has been very fortunate to maintain its chief assets, which is its people, over since we listed back in 2006, and it's great to have people like Mel Ashton and Dr. Stuart Owen still part of the team, and certainly when we went back onto focusing on Mount Lindsay, we very much it was good to have those sort of people on tap and all that experience, and we were able to recommence quite quickly. Next slide, please. Now, we've got several projects today. We are really focusing on Mount Lindsay and the Southwest joint venture, but you can see that we have assets both in Tasmania and Western Australia. Next slide, please. Now, moving on to Mount Lindsay, we're in the northwest of Tasmania. It's a great mining jurisdiction. There's Australia's only tin mine, Renison Bell, is only about 12 kilometres along strike away from us. And we've got Savage River magnetite mine and Rosebery copper lead zinc mine nearby. So there's a great history of about 140 years of mining on the west coast of Tasmania. Next slide, please. Now, a little bit about tin, which is not extremely well known. It's known as a spice metal. There's a little bit of tin just about everything. It's part of the fourth industrial revolution, and it's all about solder, which is the glue that connects everything that's electronics. So you'll find tin in batteries, solar cells, so hence the EV metal component to electric vehicles, wind power, and energy storage. Next slide, please. So tin you'll find, as well as being solder, it's in everything that's in circuitry, so therefore, the 5G network that's going out, there'll be a lot of requirement for that. Electric vehicles have 30% more tin in them than combustion vehicles. Fuel combustion vehicles, sorry, and hence there's a requirement of something like an additional 60,000 tonnes of tin needs to be found per annum by 2030. So currently the world produces around about 350,000 tonnes, so a significant increase required. Next slide, please. And as part of that issue in terms of the demand side, we've got the supply side, which is the world. I suppose the tin world has very much produces located in environments which are high-risk ESG environments. So 90% of the world's tin comes from those sort of jurisdictions, and you can see that as you go through the list, you go through Indonesia, Brazil, Congo. So those sort of countries are obviously not as well attuned to maybe developing an asset like in Tasmania or in Australia, where we've got great permitting rules, corporate governance, etc. So Tasmania is a very unique opportunity, and hence Mount Lindsay is very well located. Next slide, please. I'll just touch on the fact a fair bit of our production or profile or revenue profile from Mount Lindsay, something like 40% comes from tungsten. Tungsten is a critical mineral, which is very important in terms of helping venture to raise funds for building the asset, building Mount Lindsay, and a lot of it about tungsten is the fact that China dominates the market. Its very unique properties, and including the fact it's used in armaments. So very important addition to the revenue at Mount Lindsay. Next slide, please. Like I said before, we've drilled 100,000 meters. There's 100,000 meters of drilling at Mount Lindsay. Over 80,000 tons of tin metal. So one of the largest undeveloped tin projects in the world. We've got a significant amount of tungsten. We've almost got a standalone tungsten deposit mixed with our tin. As you can see there, there's some very high-grade intersections within the two chutes. We'll be focusing on the underground. So part of our underground feasibility study, which we've just commissioned, we'll be focusing and optimising on that 4.7 million tonnes there of high-grade material. Next slide, please. In addition, we already have a JORC-compliant resource, so very much the study's focused on a redesign, and more importantly, on a much simpler processing route. So we see that the opportunity obviously is now for venture, with tin at 4 times the price of copper, and tungsten is certainly 100% higher than it was in 2016. But Mount Lindsay is also about exploration. So just moving on to the next slide, you can see we're very well located along strike to the Renison Bell tin mine. We've got 2 discoveries along strike to Renison and along strike to Mount Lindsay just recently. Next slide, please. And that's some of the drill core you can see. So that pink unit there is the Renison mine sequence, which moves onto our tenure and then onto our reward deposit, which is 500,000 tonnes at 0.9% tin. So there's an opportunity for a nice high-grade mine there. Next slide, please. That's the intersection of hole 338 along strike to Mount Lindsay. Again, you can see the sulphide-rich scar mineralisation in the drill core. Next slide, please. And most recently, we've got a record intersection of 147 metres at 1% tin as part of our feasibility drilling within the main scar. Next slide, please. Just quickly moving on to the joint venture with Chalice. Chalice did a joint venture with us nearly 2 years ago now, back in July 2020, we need to spend $3.7 million to earn 70% on what they call a Julimar lookalike target. Next slide, please. And part of that reason is that we're in the same province as the Julimar discovery itself. Next slide, please. And the main reason is when you look at this slide here, you can see that Venture has a magnetic anomaly which looks very, very similar to the Julimar one in terms of not only scale but shape, etc. We're also in high chrome-rich rocks, so we're in a very similar geological setting. Next slide, please. Venture's already done some drilling back in 2018, and we came up with 2.4 metres of massive sulphide and hit a little bit of copper, nickel, and cobalt. We're very encouraged by that work, but that was all airborne EM anomalies that we were testing. Chalice moved on to ground EM. Next slide, please. And the outcome of that, and next slide again, please, is that they hit 11 new anomalies, and you can see that 3 of these are very close to holes that Venture drilled, so including that massive sulphide intersection. So it's pretty exciting that to see what Chalice will be doing, and that in terms of following up those ground bedrock EM anomalies. So we look forward to them starting that drill program very, very soon indeed. Next slide, please. So moving ahead for the rest of the year, Mount Lindsay will be focusing on the tin-tungsten feasibility study. Exploration drilling will be recommencing shortly once the feasibility drilling is just about completed. The Riley iron ore mine is very much ready to commence in the go bay, if you like, ready to recommence. Waiting for Chalice to recommence drilling, and we expect to be doing an airborne EM survey at Coolum in the second half of this year, and the ground EM survey at Golden Grove North. Next slide, please. So just quickly to summarise, obviously with Mount Lindsay, we're well positioned to take advantage of the strong EV and critical mineral markets. with tin sitting at record levels and tungsten certainly at very comfortable levels, we're very keen to work on that asset and make the next new tin discovery and develop Australia's next new tin mine, and more importantly, a net zero carbon emission mine, and a brand new mine on the west coast of Tasmania is something I think everyone is looking forward to, as well as that with Chalice. We're looking forward to their drilling activity and their maiden drill program, and certainly with O'Reilly iron ore mine, we have a free option to the iron ore price going forward. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Andrew. I think that's a world record, getting through so many slides right on time. So thank you for that. So is Venture Minerals, is your focus on a capital allocation driven by the commodity price, given you've got different projects?
Well, look, I think most junior explorers are driven a little bit by that. But, for us, the key driver is certainly the advanced nature of the asset. We've already spent $35 million at Mount Lindsay, so having the two work together is an ideal situation for the company.
And there's a question here in regards to iron ore prices, obviously rebounded. Is there an expectation that you might reopen the Riley mine at some point?
Look, we've got a strategy to, we can virtually start mining almost tomorrow. So that's sort of, we're aware of that opportunity, and we're prepared at that opportunity, should I say. But the iron ore price, even though it has lifted up, with what's happening in Ukraine and the oil prices, we've seen shipping prices jump up by about $20, $25 over that same period of time. So that's come straight off the bottom line. And there's a pretty heavy discount between the 62 price and the product we produce, which is 57. So that's related to the price of coking coal, which you need more coal to treat lower grade iron ore. So even though we're keeping a watch, it's the other aspects that are sort of not going in our favour at the moment, Tim.
And in Tasmania, you've probably got some environmental challenges with tin. Can tin be environmentally sourced?
Look, I suppose what we present an opportunity where we've got renewable energy with hydropower going through our tenements. We're looking to go underground, reduce our footprint from the open pit study by about 80%. And we're looking to use battery-driven or electric-powered equipment underground. So I suppose when you look at where we're located in Tasmania, we're very well located. It's a very low carbon footprint. Net zero emissions is what we're targeting. But you compare that against dredging the seafloor off the coast of Indonesia and using child labour in DRC. I think for the investor looking for ESG compliant producers, tin producers going forward, I think Mount Lindsay offers a very rare opportunity. And
so tungsten's a critical mineral. Tin, we believe, is in the US but not in Europe. Where does tin sit in the critical mineral equation in Australia? And obviously with a critical mineral, that gives you access to government funding.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, well, we're very fortunate to have, I suppose, almost half our project in the critical mineral with tungsten. But tin, I was told, was like the next one on the list. So the cutoff was at about 24 and tin was number 25. So these lists do get re-rated and adjusted, and I would say that I know that certainly the Tasmanian government is very keen to get tin on that list. So wouldn't be surprised, Tim, if over the next couple of years as we go through the study and prepare to build Mount Lindsay, that it does go onto that list, and that will obviously help in terms of our funding capabilities.
And is there any timelines you've got in the back of your mind that you can share with shareholders at all? We've got a couple of questions in regards to timing.
Yeah, look, the study will take, well, we submitted the underground permit application. That's we've been told by consultants that's going to take about 2 years, and it's probably based on our experience at Riley, which we got the permitting done on. I would say 2 years to get that done. We will get an updated study on the underground out later this year, and then probably follow it up with a more bankable or feasibility study next year. So over the next couple of years, and then look at building the project in the following year after that. So the target is sort of production towards the end of 2025, Tim.
Great, Andrew. That's all we have time for. There's quite a few more questions there. If you've got time, you can type in live. Otherwise, I'll send them to you over the weekend.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Tim, for the opportunity.
Thanks for your time.